Assalamu alaikum, everybody, and welcome. I want to actually thank Bayan for this opportunity to come here and be enriched as well by your intellectual capital. I feel a little overwhelmed because, and I feel sort of sorry for me and sorry for you, because there's so much to cover in a very, very short period of time. And I think the way that I would like to go about this is to try to succeed in establishing our frame. And I want to start out by saying one thing to sort of, in a sense, free us from certain presuppositions that we might have consciously or unconsciously. If we were talking about Islam and Arabs in America, most of us would probably be fairly comfortable with that. The association between Arabs and Islam seems quite natural, all right? Given the realities as they are, and we'll see some of them in just a bit, I don't think there's very much to complain about in that regard, all right? But when it comes to Islam and blacks, some of us may be a little less comfortable in as much as the association just doesn't perhaps seem quite as quote unquote natural. And so we get into a mindset where historical facts, all right, are often looked upon as ideological statements, all right? So let me give you one example of what I'm talking about. And we can just dive in here. By a show of hands, how many people have heard of Lamin Kebbi? All right? How about Joe bin Solomon? All right, one. How about Yara Mahmoud? Okay, one. Let's try an easier one. How about Omar ibn Said? Okay, a few more. A few more. All right. Now, how many people have heard of Phyllis Wheatley? See there? What about Frederick Douglass? And Richard Allen? Now, what explains this dichotomy? How come no one's heard of Lamin Kebbi and everyone's heard of Phyllis Wheatley? Right? The point that I'm trying to make here is the following. The first Muslims of any critical mass in America were black Africans, not Arabs, not Turks. Now, that's a historical fact, all right, that can come out sounding like what? An ideological claim. Somebody follow what I mean by that? It's not an ideological claim. It's an historical fact, okay? So what I want to invite us to try to do is sort of, I mean, there's no Archimedean point outside of the existence that we have from which we can think or speak, all right? But we can at least try to bracket that a bit, okay? Otherwise, we will continue to face, right, historical facts as if they're ideological claims, okay? All right, but I just made a statement, and that is that the first Muslims in America were black Africans, all right? But nobody has heard of any of these people. Why has Islam been written out of the American narrative? And who wrote it out? The dominant culture? Okay, everybody please do me a favor. I'm getting a little up there in years, and when I hear voices, I think that day has sort of come. So don't do that to me. So make it clear when you're speaking. Otherwise, I get scared, all right? Okay. The dominant culture. Yes, that's half true, but only half true, all right? Islam has been written out of the history of America, not only by the dominant culture, all right, but by the Black American community as well, all right? When we look at the writing of this history, there are two groups: whites of the dominant culture, Christian, Jewish, or deist, or perhaps more recently you might want to call post-Christian, and blacks, primarily Christian, and more recently perhaps post-Christian. And I have in mind here people like Molefe Asante. Has anybody ever heard of Molefe Asante? Asante is, by the way, don't let me get away with saying things that you don't know about, all right? We're all en famille here, one little family. So raise your hand. Who is that? Okay? I don't want to go on and on and on, and you know what I'm talking about. We have very little time, and we need to take maximum advantage of it, okay? Molefe Asante is sort of the founder of the Afrocentric movement, all right? Maulana Karinga is the creator of Kwanzaa, all right? They're not the only ones. I mean, they're the sort of what I would consider post-Christian black sort of historians, all right? You have another, you know, sort of whole institutionalized presence in the academy of blacks who write history, who have always also basically written Islam out of the history of Black America, all right? And I want to just take a minute to look at this and to come to some understanding of what it contributes to how we are predisposed, all right, to looking at this history, all right? So when we look at the dominant white culture in writing about Islam, the overwhelming tendency when it came to writing about Africans in North America, and by the way, when I speak of Africans in the New World, I'm talking about North America, all right? Primarily what becomes the United States, okay? All right? And that's important because that history is very different from the history of blacks in other parts of, quote unquote, the New World, all right? One of the things that we're going to see about Islam in Black America is that there's something, and I'm not using this word in a sort of to extol this history, but there's something uniquely American about it, uniquely United States about it, all right? So we're talking about, you know, those, well, we might as well get used to this here. You know, in my other life, that's a little too, that Strait of Hormuz has to be a little, All right. You know what that is, of course. All right? That's Mecca, that's Africa, that's sort of India, all right? Okay? And then we have, of course, here, that's Florida, all right? Okay? When we start talking about blacks in the Americas, we have to think about a few things. There was a tendency to homogenize blacks, all right? And we have to think about this in the context not of the 21st century, all right? Okay? But of the 17th and 18th. Somebody follow that? All right? Blacks were sort of heathens. All right? Many of us might not realize it, but even the black church, blacks do not begin to come into Christianity in America en masse, all right? Until around, I mean, that tide doesn't reach full tide until around the 1830s, all right? And prior to that, there had been, you know, quite a a palpable tendency against introducing blacks to Christianity. All right? I mean, we tend to think of blacks coming over to America and immediately coming into Christianity. That didn't happen. All right? In fact, it didn't happen for whites either. Okay? So blacks tend to be sort of homogenized as heathen, pagan. There are no sort of religious differences between them. All right? And part of this has to do with a certain phenomenon in America, one that I think that many Muslims to this day are still not fully sensitive to. And that is the fact that America, and we'll come back to this again and again, America is a place where the fundamental fault line, all right, was not religion. The fundamental fault line in America from its founding has been race. Does everybody understand that? All right? In that regard, religion is sort of invisible, right? Behind the fact that these people are racially other. Okay? And you might say the racial other. Okay? As we'll see a bit later on today, when I say the racial other, okay, what I mean is the fact that America, in a sense, in a sense, all right, America invents whiteness. All right? We tend to think of whiteness as a natural ontological phenomenon. No? Huh? Right? No. Whiteness was invented. Okay? Now, by the way, can I take off my jacket? It's a little, no, it's warm in here a little bit? Okay. Don't worry, I'm not gonna. No, we're fine. I'm just a little hesitant because, again, we tend to see these as ideological statements. Oh, battle America, right? That's not what we're talking about, okay? And we should get out of this habit of immediately judging, all right? To the extent that that tendency to judge clouds our ability to understand. Somebody follow what I mean by that? All right? In other words, you're building a new nation. I'm not trying to whitewash things here, all right? I'm trying to put us in a frame of mind that enhances our ability to understand. Agreeing or disagreeing comes after what? Understanding. Okay? You want to build a new nation. All right? If you were to build a new nation right now, all right, what's one of the first things that you would want to secure in that nation? Food? Unity? Food, land, security. Huh? Equality. Power. Let me go over here by the honest people. But let me press you a little bit. By the way, I'm a vegetarian when it comes to people. Don't worry. Just relax, everybody. All right? Power for whom? For those that can wield it. What do you mean, those that can wield it? Let's get serious now. Let me roll up my sleeve. Say that again? Power for yourself. But now, how do you define yourself? As an individual? No. Huh? Those closest to you. Whoa. Closest how? By what? Whatever you identify with most. Oh, but you're a new nation. So you got to what? Build an identity. You got to create an identity. Does everybody understand what I'm trying to get at here? You got to create an identity. Who you are. Who? And when you say you, that's you with a big giant Y, right? Yeah. All right? How are you going to do that? Does everybody understand what I'm trying to get at here? By bringing more people like you. That by doing what?
Bringing people like you.
Uh-uh.
By making sure you know who is not like you.
Well, that's part of it, but that goes hand in hand with creating the you, right?
Because you have to,
I think there's this ideal where we're creating it for a greater good, but it usually is the you with the capital Y.
Whoa. What greater good?
Well, I think some religions or beliefs claim that there's a greater good.
No. I got you, but I'm not talking about religion here. All right? I'm talking about me and you and you and you and you. We land in a new place. But if I want to mean by that. And we may have the same religion, okay. All right? And there are these people there, and they're going to build a new nation. How are we going to do it?
Deciding on some values.
Values? Let's get serious, all right?